If I may, I would like to clarify the things that are currently going on with former President Trump. The reason why is because people outside the country do not know what's going on, and a lot of people inside the country don't know what's really going on. And this is due to a broken media platform. It's the system, I mean. It's a broken system. So let me go through the separate cases so you could better understand what's going on. I think the first one that is most important, and this is unbiased. I know I get attacks all the time saying I'm far left or I'm far right. I get these all the time, okay? These are just facts. The first one is, excuse me, the business deal that has to do with Trump and the bank. Now, what this is about is the transaction was your common type of transaction for a loan. You see, how these usually work is you'll need a certain amount. The bank will allow you or have you inflate the price of your property, and the duty to determine that or to qualify that, to confirm that, is on the bank. And remember, you could have a property that's worth 100,000 and the government will always have that evaluation lower for tax purposes. Could be something like 40,000. So you pay tax on a 40,000 property for your house that's actually 100,000, but to some people that house could be worth 140,000. And when you look up the value of your house on different sites, there's going to be all sorts of different prices on it. It fluctuates a great deal depending on what the purpose is. So the duty is on the bank, and yes, it's very common for the bank to have you or allow you, or for them on their part to do it on your behalf, inflate the value of your property. Now, the reason the duty is on the bank to confirm that is to alleviate any legal problems that could be on the client, because you don't want the clients to be found guilty of any type of fraud, for this personal transaction. Then the next thing is there is no harm done. Trump or Trump Industries or corporation, whatever, did pay it off, and the bank did benefit um, from that loan. And there was no loss in there. It was a good business deal, and it was completed. There is no harm that was done. Now, the issue here is since there is no harm that was done, that means that the person who would have to bring the case up against them, that in this case would be the bank, who did not want to do it and refused to do it. When the government tried to get them to sue Trump for fraud, which they clearly could not do, it would destroy their reputation. It's like, oh, here's someone who did nothing wrong to us and we're going after them for fraud. Terrible idea. It's only the person that is harmed that could bring that case up against the defendant. And in this case, what the government has done is they overstepped and said that these laws do not apply to them because they say so. So the judge said, well, yeah, he is, he is relieved of the duty and the duty is on the bank, but we're going to go after him for fraud anyway. It's like, yes, the bank needs to be the one to go after him, but we're going to do it on their behalf anyway. They're not allowed to do that. Then he said, yes, there is no harm done, but we're going to go after him anyway as though there was a harm that was done. That is bad. That is bad when they know that they're doing something on that is not covered, by the way, because it's not the official act. They're actively working against the law and what their position is meant to uphold and corrupting the system to go after someone that in this case, Trump is absolutely 100% innocent because there's not a single criteria that has to be met that is there. And the people bringing it up against him do not have an interest. And in order to take an action against someone, you have to have an interest in that case. And the government has none. So this is the first time in American history the government has weaponized the law to attack someone when they have no legal means to do so. And they're doing it for the purpose of harassment. So that is bad. Now, when it comes to the January 6th issue, in this case, basically they're going after Trump because he did not tell the rioters to stand down. That was a very difficult year for us. There were a lot of riots like this and a lot of damages. But all of a sudden, when the riot was no longer leftists or illegal aliens that invaded this country, when it was American citizens that were right wing, but they were radical, that's the problem. Very radical. I know someone who went to that riot, and yeah, they were radical. Of course, he said there was no riot at all, and it was only little portions. Sure, it wasn't really nearly as bad as the other riots. I understand that, but it was still a riot. They're going after Trump, making it seem like he was part of that simply because he was upset about the whole election thing. He really thought he won. Now, I'll talk about that after this. Um, Basically, because he did not tell them to stand down, they're trying to make it seem like he was part of it, and they tried to call it an insurrection. That went to the high courts, and it was a waste of time and resources because basically SCOTUS said there's not a single criteria that needs to be met for it to be an insurrection that took place during this riot. Not a single one. So at this point, it was very clear that Trump was being targeted by the corrupt government, both left and right, because he's not part of that big corrupt system. You know, he's very anti that, and his actions showed that when he was in office. So they're really trying to, you know, get him. Now, when it comes to the election case, as far as him they're trying to say that he attempted to overturn the election. Um, what happened here? I guess if that's, I don't know the definition of that, but either he did try and turn it around. That's true. And the question here is when he looked into it and asked them as far as to find the votes he really thought was missing, was that a corrupt act? Well, since he really did believe he won, and he was contacting these states, telling them to find the official count because he really thought that they were messing up. That does fall under an official act. He did not tell anyone to commit any type of fraud. He really thought he won. He really did. And it's understandable to see why he would believe that because he's a very strong narcissistic type. Um, when you look at Biden At this point, Biden was known to have serious mental issues for well over a decade, and it's documented under the Obama administration that they were deeply concerned about Biden's um, mental state. So for Biden to have won was shocking to many Americans, especially after Trump performed so exceptionally well during his term. Um, Biden did win because the media built up a lot of hate against Trump. People really believe what the media said. So people voted against Trump more than they voted actually for Biden. And I believe that that's why he lost. So the question is, the president wanting the official count that is true and accurate, is that treason or not? Is that an official act or is that a personal act? If it's a personal act, they could go after him legally because he's not protected when it comes to his immunity. Immunity is absolute for official acts only. A lot of people don't know that. There's a lot of judges out there. There was a judge out here. Her name was Judge Harper in Porter County, Indiana. She was an extremely vile, evil, sadistic person. And every day she committed multiple acts that were not official. And she did it in the capacity of a judge illegally. But people thought that just because she was a judge, she had absolute immunity just because of that. They did not realize that a judge and any type of political official that has immunity is only covered under those acts. And that's why you can go after someone for things like making illegal business deals or things like that, using their position to profit. Um, that's not part of their official position. But back to what I was saying is, oh goodness, where was I? Um, yeah, so President Trump really did believe that he had won. He did not ask anyone to change the vote or throw any votes away. And due to there being a great deal of fraudulent votes on the left during each election, that tends to poke the right quite a bit because with the millions of fake votes in these elections and illegal votes by illegal aliens, it has changed our political atmosphere a great deal with all that foreign influence. So that's why they get so irked about it. Let's see, what's next? I already spoke about January 6th. They spoke about his position on the election. Oh, the Stormy Daniels payment of $130,000, the hush money payment. Now, in this case, this was a sexual interaction that we know took place in 2006 between the porn star Stormy Daniels and President Trump. He was not president, I mean, at that time. When Trump ran the third time, when he finally won his first term, which was actually, though it was his third time, it was only the second official time. So he ran two official times when he won his first term. And Stormy Daniels, I'm not sure if you've seen her. I just saw her recently. She's an absolutely gorgeous woman, very beautiful person. So, with this case, the left won me over on this a long time ago when it came down to a man's personal business and sexual encounters is his own personal business and should not get in the way of the way you view him as being a leader, even if that is a political role. because religion should not get in the way of your of politics. And so when this happened with Bill Clinton, I was like, I don't know, man. The way that a man treats his family and his wife, I think is a good um, um, I guess example on how he'll probably treat the people. But with Clinton, that wasn't the case. So Democrats won me over on that. It's like, okay, whatever happens between a man and his personal life, especially with sexual stuff that is consensual, is his business and should not get in the way of that. The issue here is the double standard is so radical that Clinton can do it while he's in the White House with someone who works at the White House and cheat on his wife, and that's okay. But someone who had a sexual encounter with someone previously years ago before running for president needs to be burnt at the stake. So this is the details on what's going on with that, because it's not just that; it has to do with the payment as well. President Trump, Stormy Daniels, did have that sexual encounter. When he was running for that term when he first won, he made a payment to her for $130,000 to not sell her story or make it public. He had his attorney, Michael Cohen, take a loan out on his house to get the money to her because it would get to her a lot faster. And then President Trump immediately paid him back for that. So, on the records, the government's going after him because he did not put down the hush money payment on his records as a hush money payment, which is absolutely ridiculous. Nobody's going to put down hush money payment to keep this person from talking about her sexual encounter. And Michael Cohen lied under oath about that, I believe, that he did not give that money out, which that oath would be public, and I can understand that because, again, it is their personal business, and it does not matter in that case. Now, if it happened while he was in office, I could see that. But getting that deep into someone's personal business that has nothing to do with their official capacity, that is something that is overstepping on the government's part. But Michael Cohen and Trump both lied about that, just like what's his name lied. I just saw my first Cybertruck. I just saw my first Cybertruck. Wow, it was completely silent. That is so cool. Well, it's actually really pretty too. I'm surprised it looks so nice. I did not expect it to look nice at all. Huh. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Um, yeah, the hush money thing with Stormy Daniels. So that's basically everything on that already. Let's see what else is going on. What else? What else? I'm sure there's more. There are so many indictments against. Oh, the Russian collusion. Now, it's already been shown multiple times with the Mueller report that they know for an absolute fact that there is no collusion between Trump and Russia. Um, the issue here is when you deal with a narcissist like Trump and they're innocent, they will go out of their way to lie to make them seem more innocent. And when you lie, it just makes you look guilty. Um, I'm not going to bring that up. That sounds biased against the left, so I'm not going to bring that up. Um, but anyways, when they already knew he didn't uh, have any connection with Russia, he had his attorney, again, Michael Cohen, who was a great attorney. He really went out of his way to protect his client, President Trump. Um, He had Michael Cohen lie under oath, which was just terrible thing for them to do. Terrible thing to do. And then Trump lied as well. They spoke to Russia 10 times, and they lied and said that they spoke to Russia 3 times to minimize what the amount of contact they looked on record, and that did not make him look any better. And just so you know, in this case, because it had to do when he was running for office, I believe, as far as his election, they asked how many times he contacted Russia during that. And that's what I believe the period they were looking at. And what happened here was they lied under oath, which is a serious, serious no-no. And with that, that does not ban you from running for office, but it can kick you out of office. Now, it doesn't mean that you cannot run again or be president again. And the reason why is because our founding fathers set it up in a way to make sure that the people would still have the right to vote for who they wanted to vote for, and that the government could not bar someone, target them, and bar them, you see. Um, so that's why it was worded that way. As far as you can be kicked out of office, but you're not barred from it. The immunity thing too, when it comes to immunity, I'm not sure if I said this already, but when it comes to the immunity of official acts, the reason that exists, the reason the immunity is so much stronger for the president than it is for anyone else besides Supreme Court justices is because they don't want the president on a election year to have to worry about a lot of lawsuits, because at that point you could interfere with the election and just create a bunch of indictments against that person and lock them up in court and keep them from going out and campaigning. You could drain their resources, their money, their time, and everything. And that's why that immunity is there. But that's what we see happening here. Now that's everything I could think of from the top of my head. But I thought it was important for people to know the things that were really going on with Trump that were not bad versus the things that are bad, which the main one is lying under oath. I believe you could do time for that too. But yeah, again, this is all completely unbiased. This is factual only, and when I think of it, it does sound like that it leans right. But I can tell you this, with the right being so radical, I will have people watch this and say that I'm a liberal loony and all this stuff, all because they said that Trump lied under oath and that is illegal. And that's all it takes to piss off radicals. But yeah. Anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching and stuff. I'm gonna roll down these windows now, let in some of this fresh air. This is just beautiful, beautiful drive.